Always busy up on the Hill, sexual assault on college campuses has become a big issue in recent months, and some lawmakers say the key to prevention may just be early education. Senator Tim Kaine is one of those. He is a co-sponsor of a new bill aimed at teaching young people about safe relationships and providing them with the tools to avoid sexual assault. And the senator joins us now. It's good to see you this morning.
Steve, good to be back.
So you introduced this with Senator McCaskill yesterday. Yep. What was the rationale behind this?
You know, all of the attention that's being paid to campus sexual assault, got my attention. But the real issue is not just on campuses. If you're in the 16 to 24-year-old age range, whether you're on a college campus or not, you're at your probably most vulnerable period to any kind of dating violence or relationship violence. And I went up to UVA to talk to student activists there who were working on this issue and listened to them for a long time. And one of the young ladies said something I thought was pretty powerful. They said, look, when we come to a college campus away from home for the first time, we've had a sex ed class in high school or a health class, but it's a class about reproductive biology. They don't talk about safe relationship strategies, behaviors, how to get help, how to avoid feeling pressured or manipulated. If they could make it a little more about relationship and behavior, that would really help us. And I thought, that's a good idea. So right now, we are in the middle of trying to reauthorize No Child Left Behind. So for the first time in 15 years, we're going back into the federal law about elementary and secondary education to reauthorize it. There's already provisions about sex ed and health classes in this law, and so I'm just taking those provisions and adding to it. When you're teaching these classes, make sure you teach safe relationship strategies, because young men and women ought to learn about this when they're in high school, so that when they leave home, wherever they go, college or into the workforce, they know how to deal with challenges and they know the right behaviors.
Well, I like how you got the idea from actually talking to people there at UVA. Of course, it's been such issue that's sparked so much debate. Do you have support, though, in Congress?
Yeah, Senator McCaskill, who's, she was a former prosecutor, and she did a lot of prosecution of crimes of sexual violence. And so she is co-sponsored, and that is really very important. I've talked to members of the Education Committee that are going to work on this reauthorization of No Child Left Behind about the reasons for this and getting some positives. And the group of students at UVA and other kind of advocacy organizations look at this as a positive strategy. So, look, we have work to do, but I think it makes common sense. We already have federal standards about what should be taught in a sex ed or health class that's age appropriate in high school. Adding kind of smart relationship strategies as part of those classes, I think, makes a lot of sense.
The real life as opposed to just learning from the books in the classrooms. Let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about Homeland Security right now. Those of you on the Hill, particularly Democrats, you knew a few months ago when we were trying to fund the government that we would have to come back and revisit funding DHS. And when you knew that there would be a fight from Republicans when it came to this as far as overriding riders that were there. Right. Can this get worked out by the end of the month?
Absolutely, Stephen. I'll tell you, the thing is, we've already...
You're so positive this morning, Senator.
We've already worked it out. The House and the Senate agreed on the funding level for DHS to the penny. We've compromised. We've worked that out. But the House decided, well, we want to add in, we'll only fund DHS if we also get to override some of these immigration actions that the president talked. What do you mean you'll only fund DHS if you get your way on this? We want to fund DHS because ISIL is posing a threat to the United States. We want to fund DHS because we're doing Ebola screenings out at Dulles Airport. We want to fund DHS because 1 million visitors come to the country every day, and we need Customs and Border folks to check to make sure that they ought to be here.
All valid points, but if you have Republicans in the House that are trying to press Democrats to vote for this the way it is now, and you have Democrats that are saying we're not going to do that, how do you reach that common ground?
Here's the way you do it. If the Republicans in the House don't like aspects of what the president immigration reform, they can pass an immigration bill, just like we did in June of 2013. Now, they'd pass a very different one than we did. And then we would go into a conference, and then we would find a compromise in immigration. But we wouldn't use that as a political tool to hold hostage protecting the security of our nation. So since we've agreed on the funding level between both houses, Democrats and Republicans, we need to do a clean funding bill for DHS, and then we can have a debate about immigration reform or whatever else anybody wants to debate about. But they should just pass an immigration bill like the Senate did and sit around a conference table and work it out.
And they're saying the same thing about you. So 3 weeks to get it done now. So hopefully that'll happen.
Yeah, I think it'll happen.
All right, and the administration, of course, has its say over that, too. Let's speak about the administration, perhaps future administration. A lot of the push, especially on the Democratic side, is still Hillary for president, even though she has not come out and announced.
Yeah.
Your opinion, is she the best fit for Democrats right now for 2016?
I believe she is. Now, I'll say I came out and endorsed her, or encouraged her, I guess, in May of 2014. I did an event, and I said, look, I really want to encourage Secretary Clinton to run. I don't have any inside intel about what she'll decide or when, but my gut tells me, and I'm wishful thinking, that I'm hoping she runs and decides soon. She would be the best person to look, especially as we're starting to see this uptick in dangers of ISIL in so many areas. She combines an expertise in kind of national security and foreign policy with all the work that she did as First Lady and Senator on issues that matter directly to American families. So both kind of an economic portfolio and expertise, an international affairs expertise, and the network of relationships that means that she can, start doing the right things from day one. I just think she's uniquely qualified, and that's why I support her.
Real quick before we let you go, a study came out this week saying that 77% of millennials, youngsters, can't name one of their state senators. Have we lost touch with that generation, and is there something that we can do? I know your efforts on the college campuses may be, but is there something that can be done to regain that younger audience out there?
Only 2/3 of my own children can name one of their state senators. Now, it's sobering when you see a statistic like that. It's sobering, and I think what it tells us is we have to do maybe a better job in communicating through the media that millennials use. So, maybe some of the old ways that we communicate are not into, so savvy on the social media platforms that young people use. So it's always up to us to figure out a way to communicate to our audience. We can't expect them to change to meet us. We got to go and meet them. And so that's a sobering thing, and it challenges us because the voting patterns that get established as young people often last through the rest of life. So you want to make sure people feel connected to their democracy and they participate. If they do it at a young age, they'll do it older. But if they don't do it when young, they may not ever do it.
That evolution has to continue. Thanks, Senator. It's always good to see you. Absolutely. All right, Tucker, we'll send it back over to you now.